An Australia Music Guide. Chapter 1. Australia music is classical, folk, indigenous and pop. Australia music info. Australian music encompasses many genres. Australian pop has its own genre. Pop stars and rockers paralleled the mainstream music world. Early rockers were as Johnny the Wild One O'Keefe, John Farnham, AC/DC, Kylie Minogue, INXS, Powderfinger and Savage Garden. A good Australian pop band has the Asian market. There are English tourists all over Asia. Australia pop bands can make a good living in Asia if they want to. As far as indigenous Australian music goes, they make big deal about the instrument called a didgeridoo. There are some indigenous Western-style musicians like Yothu Yindi, No Fixed Address, Jeffrey Gurumal Unupingu and Christine Anu. Australia had early folk music and bush ballads, with famous, popular songs such as Waltzing Matilda and The Wild Colonial Boy. Some bush ballads are based on the works of poets like Henry Lawson and Banjo Patterson. Contemporary Australian music sometimes breaks into the worldwide pop scene. I thought Empire of the Sun has great music, but they get very little airplay in America. Olivia Newton-John got great airplay in her day. She was considered a novelty, kind of like the cute Australian girl comes to America then stars in the movie Grease with John Travolta, which turned out to be a massive success during the disco era. The song Down Under by Men at Work was a big hit in 1980. An article on Australia music at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/music_of_Australia. They go back through the history of Australian music. Find the coolest Australian pop stars. liveabout.com/80s-music-artists-and-new-zealand-10667. au.rollingstone.com/50-greatest-Australian-artists. Australia music categories at cully.org/en/regional/oceania/Australia/arts_and_entertainment/music. Subcategories. Australian Capital Territory: New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Victoria, Western Australia. Bands and artists, clubs and venues, concerts and events, DJs, education, instruments, news and media, production, radio, shopping, styles, symphony orchestras. Australia music websites at cully.org/en/regional/oceania/arts_and_entertainment/music. ausmusicScrapbook.com, AUS Music Scrapbook. Contains reviews, links, music news, interviews and an event guide of independent and alternative music. assay.org.au, Australian Songwriters Association. entertainmentnow.com.au, Entertainment Now. Links to bands, DJs, children's entertainers, audio and lighting companies, music teachers and musicians. thefunkyway.com, The Funky Way. Australian dance music portal including games, jokes, DJ reviews, event listings, and venue details. poparchives.com.au, Pop Archives. Sources of Australian pop records from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. starvision0.tripod.com/starvision entertainment, Starvision Entertainment. Organizers of the National Amateur Song Contest and Musicians Business Seminars. Events catering for amateur performers. themusic.com.au. Offers an Australian music directory covering artists, media, radio, TV, major venues, record companies, and events. Australia music websites at musicamounts.org/regional/oceania/Australia. aboda.nsw.com, Aboda NSW Incorporated, the Australian Band and Orchestra Directors Association. Aboda is Australia's premier in-service support organisation for music educators, instrumental music teachers and band and orchestra directors. amcos.com.au/index.htm, Amcos. The Australasian Mechanical Copyright Owners Society represents the interests of music publishers and their writers in Australia and New Zealand. aria.com.au, ARIA, Australian Music Industry Association, Australian Music Charts = ARIA, Australia's premier music industry association, compiles top 40 music charts and represents record companies. Addicted.com.au, Addicted to Noise, Australian music news and reviews. AIAN.com, Australian Independent Artists Network, independent original artists. amcozy.com.au, Australian Music Centre. The Australian Music Centre was established in 1974 to facilitate and encourage the performance and understanding of music by Australian composers throughout the world. amb.nsw.edu.au, Australian Music Examinations Board, examination information, publications, and teacher support. amwls.com.au, Australian Music, 2,000 artists listed, 1,200 with a page or link. osmosic.org.au, Australian Music Foundation, the initial focus of the Australian Music Foundation Inc. AustralianMusicProject.org, Australian Music Project, an encyclopedia of Australian music using the wiki editing model. Bandguide.com.au, bandguide.com.au, listing of live bands and venues, mainly Victorian. emugigs.com/gigguide, emugigs, bands, entertainment, concerts, gigs, and information for events around Australia. howlspace.com.au, Howlspace, an open encyclopedia of Australian and New Zealand music, with a focus on the contemporary scene, regular news, and interviews. hurlmusic.com, Australian music resource, Australian music industry trades directory and links. in-the-mix.net, in the mix, supporting the Australian dance music scene with news, reviews, photos, websites, forums and what's on information. mca.org.au, Music Council of Australia. MCA is the advancement of Australian musical life in all its aspects. musicnsw.com.au, the Music Teachers Association of NSW, site has information about membership to the council, teacher referrals, online library, accreditation, scholarships, as well as news on upcoming special events and competitions. mva.org.au, Musica Viva Australia, National Chamber Music Presenter, includes major concert series, schools programs here and abroad, international touring of Australian musicians. oz-music.com, Ounce Music Online, news, bands, live chat, and a web directory specifically relating to Australian music. OunceMusicProject.net, Ounce Music Project, links, gig guide, live MP3, videos, reviews and interviews. Raucus.com.au, Raucus Online Magazine, monthly e-zine devoted to Australian music. Australia band and artist categories at musicmounts.org/regional/Oceania/Australia/bands_and_artists. Subcategories: New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Victoria, Western Australia, AC/DC, Air Supply, Alan Lee Jazz Quartet, The Amorosi, Vanessa, Angels, The Area 7, Arena, Tina, Austin, Sheria, Avalanches, They, Avian, Babelfish, Baby Animals, Bachelor Girl, Bardo, Barnes, Jimmy, Beasts of Bourbon, Berserker, They, Betchadupa, Birthday Party, They, Bogle, Eric, Braithwaite, Daryl, Casser Daly, Troy, Cave, Nick and the Bad Seeds, Cave, Nick, Chambers, Casey, Church, They, Cold Chisel, Conway, Deborah, Cox, Angie. Crash Palace. Crime and the City Solution. Cruel C, The. De Leon, Kathleen. DeMarkey, Susie. Divinals, They. Duremi. Dusty, Slim. English, John. Eskimo Joe. ESN. Eurogliders. Farnham, John. Fetus. Forster, Robert. Frente. Frenzel Rom. George. Go-Betweens, They. Gong. Goodrum, Delta. Grinspoon. Hanlon, Darren. Hay, Colin. Hayes, Darren. Helfgott, David. Hines, Denny. Hines, Marcia. Hoggart, Kelly. Hoodoo Gurus. Howard. Shane. Human Nature. Hunters and Collectors. Icehouse. Icon. Imbrulia, Natalie. Invertigo. INXS. Iota. Jack Frost. James, Rebecca. Jerk. Jet. Jonu, Chris. Kelly, Paul. Killing Heidi. Cops, Peter. Lee, Ben. Lewis, Jeannie. Little River Band. Little, Jimmy. Little Patty. Living End, They. Matthews, Wendy. McLennan, Grant. Men at Work. Mental as Anything. Midnight Oil. Minogue, Kylie. Miss Radio. Moss, Ian. Namaste Jake. Newsboys. Newton John, Olivia. O'Keefe, Johnny. Oldfield, Terry. Paramecium. Paul Coleman Trio. Powderfinger. Pals, Tim. Pretty Violet Stain. Pseudo Echo. Ready, Helen. Roach, Archie. Roe, Normie. Saints, They. Savage Garden. Screaming Jets. Seekers, They. Severed Heads. Sherbet. Silverchair. Sister to Sister. Skulker. Skyhooks. Slow Train Coming. Spider Bait. Spirits of Eve. Springfield, Rick. St. Sunk Loto. Super Heist. Super Jesus, They. Sutherland, Joan. This is Serious, Mum. Thomas, Mick and the Sure Thing. Thomas, Mick. Throw Spy, Holly. TYG. Urban, Keith. Valence, Holly. Vines. They. Waikiki. Weddings, Parties, Anything. Whitlams, They. Williamson, John. Yothu Yindi. Australia band and artist websites at musicamounts.org/regional/Oceania/bands_and_artists. AIAN.com.au, Australian Independent Artists Network, Australia's finest independent original artists online. AndyMcDonald.com, Andy McDonald Contraption, 6-piece band performing the songs and music of Andy McDonald. Based in Brisbane, Queensland. Angelfire.com/ms/mission, mission to Uranus MP3 site, MP3s and links of Australian Freak Energy Band. Aroma.org.au, Aroma, the official site of the Australian High Energy Christian Band. CaribbeanKings.com, Caribbean Kings, 8-piece dance/party band, top 40, reggae, calypso music and entertainment. Choirboys.net, the Choirboys, official website for hard Australian rock band. ChristineAnu.com.au, Christine Anu, official site for this Australian singer, dancer, and actress. ColdChisel.com.au, Cold Chisel, outstanding official site with detailed information on the history of the band, lyrics, and photos, and includes some amusing personal insights from the band members themselves. com.to/DJ mixes, DJ Mix Web Zone, showcases popular and up-and-coming DJs featuring some of their best mix sets for you to sample. DanielJohns.com, Daniel Johns, streaming multimedia site of acclaimed Australian acoustic-oriented singer, songwriter, and guitarist Daniel Johns. DarrenScott.net, Darren Scott, solo entertainer/musician Darren Scott from Brisbane plays anything and everything including blues, rock, soul, funk, folk and top 40 hits. DJamal.com, Jamal, Sydney-based singer/songwriter. Dougalmusic.com, Dougal, 3-piece guitar rock/pop band from Brisbane. Entertainersonthenet.com, Entertainers on the Net, Australian singers and songwriters. Fourthfloorcollapse.com, Fourth Floor Collapse, official website of Perth's vocalist band. Gonetoearth.com, Gone to Earth, official site. Gothamcity.com.au, Gotham City Horns, Australian 9-piece band specialising in corporate events, promotional functions, parties and weddings. hillyfe.com.au, High Life Horns, experienced, well-prepared performers deliver Sydney's premium entertainment concepts to a variety of audiences. Honeyfix.com, Honeyfix Online, official home of happening 3-piece Aussie band Honeyfix, including photos, real audio, and downloadable sound bites, bio and articles. Idea.com.au, The Idea of North, a cappella quartet, official site. JiveExpress.com, The Jive Express, a gospel musical project combining jazz, funk, soul, and gospel. JoelSmoker.com, Joel Smoker. Joel Smoker is a Kimberley region, West Australian artist who works in many mediums. JohnFarnhamFan.com, John Farnham Fan, legend of the Australian music scene. JudySmall.net, Judy Small, singer-songwriter who sings songs of conscience, fun, and love, using folk, blues, jazz, country, rock and even a taste of the classics. JuicyFruitBand.com.au, Juicy Fruit Band Sydney, Sydney wedding, corporate, party or dance band for all events and functions performing music from the 50s through to the 90s. Ladida.com.au, Ladida website, Ladida musicians can provide you with beautiful live classical music for your wedding or social/business function. Listen.to/Superscope, Superscope, Australian indie band's official website with news, releases, online ordering, photos and music samples. Listen.to/Rubis Grace, Ruby's Grace, unsigned Australian band that play a contemporary popular style of acoustic music, with driving rhythms, beautifully blended voices and great melodies and harmonies. Loingaroin.com, Loin Groin, ska music combined with a Rastafarian beat, a techno sound combined with pub rock. Mastersapprentices.com, Masters Apprentices, official site of legendary Australian rock band Masters Apprentices. me-lee.live.com.au, Mealy, Sydney female, singer, songwriter and musician. muzzypep.com, Muzzy Pep, official site. newcastlebands.com, Newcastle Bands, a forum of new and upcoming bands from Newcastle, Australia. nicole.com.au, Nicole, official site. NickyandCorsairs.com, Nicky DeVos and the Corsairs, samples, press releases and information on the band and their music. Nocturnl.com, Nocturnl, official metal, blues, hip-hop band website with links to merchandise, biographies, songs, tour information, photo gallery and email contact. oracle-the-band.com, Oracle, Christian/alternative/rock band. Preshrunk.com, Pre_Shrunk, official page for Melbourne band Pre_Shrunk. Quarterzone.com, Quarterzone, Australian alternative band, wave files, CDs, member details, and bookings. RavingLunatics.org, Raving Lunatics, official homepage, a 2-piece techno/trance outfit from Australia featuring live audio, radio, photos, reviews and interviews. Reflectionsof.com.au, reflectionsof.com.au, music to build the mood for any occasion. Rusticated.com.au, Rusticated official website, the official site of Sydney band Rusticated. Scutch.com.au, Scutch, official site. SonyMusic.com.au. StephenDix.com, Stephen Dix, information on Stephen's album. TessMcKenna.com.au, Tess McKenna, features Tess McKenna's music and interests. THebigDaddies.com, the Big Daddies, rock and blues band. ThetaVeGrainyShow.com, Dave Graney Show, official site including gigs, lyrics, stories, history, the future, and the present. TribalWorld.com.au, Tribal World Music Distribution, Australian didgeridoo-based world music groups River Tribe, Tribal Trance, and SI. Ultraviolets.com/home.htm, Ultraviolet, official site for new Melbourne pop band. warratabrass.asn.au, Warrata Brass, website has information, news, and details for getting in contact with this leading Newcastle brass band. WrightBrothers.com.au, Wright Brothers, a rhythm and blues, rock and pop duo based on the NSW coast. you.com.au/concert.html, Australian gig, concert and band guide. zyworld.com. Major Australia music websites. musicaustralia.org, music news. nla.gov.au, National Library of Australia, type in music. australianmusiccentre.com.au, Australian Music Centre, established in 1974 to facilitate and encourage the performance and understanding of music by Australian composers throughout the world. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/list_of_Australian_composers, list of Australian composers. Folkstream.com, folk music. Australian music. Last.fm. computermusic.org.au. creative.gov.au/music-Australia. sunglines.co.uk, countries Pacific Australia. radio-australia.org. Time Out Australia. Australia music websites. abc.net.au/music. amwls.com.au, Australian music worldwide website. asapentertainment.com.au, booking agency. atospages.com.au/ostmusic.htm. australianmusicoffice.com. bavasmusic.com.au/store. blackmarketmusic.com.au. bywell.com, Australia's classical music CD/DVD store. ebroadcast.com.au. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Australian_music_online. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/music_of_Australia. internationalmusic.com.au, music store. inthemix.com.au. jbs.com.au, JB's Entertainment and Gig Guide. melodyfactory.com.au. mymusic.com.au. petersculthorpe.com.au, Peter Sculthorpe. scu.edu.au/schools/arts/music/musicarchive/ausmusic.html stores.ebay.com.au/musical-instrument-supplies. theedge.com.au/news/music. wamo.com.au